Yes, and the key is compassion, being
Mm,
compassionate toward yourself instead of judging yourself for what happened or how you're being or allowing them to, and they say that to treat you that way. Because in reality, it's an opportunity. So seeing yourself with compassion, seeing others where they're at without judgment, and then looking for that, where can I up level? Where can I upgrade? What can I integrate? What can I heal to move beyond and create something even more amazing
yeah.
in my power?
Okay. Hey, how we doing, Maria?
Good. How are you? Can you see me?
I can see you. I can hear you.
Oh, okay, perfect.
Very good. Okay. All right. So I have a very long bio for you.
Oh, you can shorten that. No, no
You've
worries.
got a
Whatever
lot.
you're
You've got a lot
comfortable with.
on here that you do. I see
Yeah.
consciousness activator,
Mm-hmm.
um, light language channel,
Mm-hmm.
multidimensional healer,
Mm-hmm.
quantum energy alchemist. That sounds great. What is that all about?
With quantum energy is about dissolving the frequencies and vibration that you're in that is limiting you from accessing more of your ability to create and manifest
Hmm.
and move into a higher vibration. So a lot of that has to do with the mind and the emotions and the reality that those two areas of the multidimensional body create. So we're alchemizing those states of consciousness, those feelings, those programs, and allowing for higher light to come through
Hmm.
and dissolve what is there to create a space of possibility.
Okay. Wow. That's great. What got you started with all of this work in the alternative, let's say, therapies and alternative mindsets?
So, what really got me started was feeling out of alignment. I was actually born with my gifts, clairvoyance, clairaudience, clairsentient, and I it was sort of like this is who I am, but I didn't really think much of it. And I moved away from myself or my alignment or my true self, and that created a lot of havoc in my life.
Hmm.
Created the feeling of feeling uninspired, just not being aligned with money and prosperity as well. So a lot of things in my life were suffering because I wasn't in my alignment. So that got me or brought me back to my truth, to following what felt right for me. And part of that was because I didn't really value those parts of myself. I didn't think that I could monetize that. I just thought that was I was different.
Right. Right. Kind of finding your way as far as making it a lifestyle and a way
Hmm.
of life
Hmm.
versus just something that you had as like an extra part of your character.
That's right.
Yeah. And finding a way to make that actually a reality that you can develop and make the skills more potent over time too,
That's
right?
right. That's right.
And so I guess that kind of lends towards why the your bio would be so long, is that you're constantly working on yourself and developing new skills and all of that.
That's right. After connecting back to my gifts, I developed them. Actually, started working with my first mentor when I was about 18, 19 years old.
Hmm.
And since then, I've been evolving what I was born with, my ability to hear, my ability to read information, see the auric field, notice information, attachments, and beyond uh, past lives, timelines, akashic records, DNA work.
Yeah. Now, have you traveled a lot?
Some I've gone to not Hong Kong actually, China,
Mm-hmm.
Australia,
Hmm.
and then of course different parts of Mexico. The farthest has been Australia.
Okay.
I've
Yeah,
gone
that's
to
pretty
Canada
far.
as well.
It's nearly as far as you can go, right? Yeah. Any kind of special power sites or any kind of places that are known to be spiritually potent places?
Well, Australia has some very powerful places of just huge vibration. We spent some time in some of the forests of like Brisbane.
Hmm.
Um, so that area I felt it was very magical. Hawaii has some areas that are very magical as well. We
Hmm.
were in Maui,
Yeah.
and I experienced a lot of the higher vibration, as well as parts of Mexico. I've done some retreats in Tulum, in Cancun,
Yeah.
around Playa del Carmen. So lots of powerful energy. And in Cancun, I experienced a lot of that mermaid energy,
Hmm.
some
Okay.
mer energy. Yeah, so that was really interesting.
Hmm.
In Australia, I experienced more, and so this, could have been different from other people.
Right.
But what I experienced was of that pure consciousness coming through the earth, and the vibration of light. So it was being the state of, it just felt like wholeness and the state of totality.
Yeah.
Um, and Mexico, I also experienced connection with other spirits.
Hmm.
So you're in the area that we were having retreats. There were constantly different spirits showing up. Some were just very curious, and even some ETs, actually in Australia as well.
Oh.
And some were just there to heal.
Yeah.
We had conversations with the trees as well and their intention for being here in that area. So it's very, very interesting. In Maui was more of the freedom. It was embodying the freedom of the energy around you, like knowing that there's infinite possibility.
Maui. Maui did that for you?
I'm sorry?
Did you say that was Maui?
Yeah, Maui was just the energy of infinite possibility, just the energy of freedom. We also went up to some of the volcanoes, and it was very
Hmm.
similar energy. Like they were talking to you about freedom and possibility
Hmm.
and potentiality
Oh,
and
I love that.
expansion.
That's great.
Hmm.
Yeah, I wonder if that has something to do with it being such a, on the Earth as a whole without the oceans, it's the largest mountains on the
Hmm.
planet, the highest peaks,
Right.
but they're just,
Hmm.
being created. The land is just a landmass being created as we speak, with the volcanoes.
Right.
I wonder if
Yeah,
there's
pure
something,
potentiality, right?
yeah, that full potential of newness, but also of that island energy that has kind of like a captured space where
Hmm.
it's almost like it's the world is an island.
That's right.
Yeah, very cool. Now, with the connections like that, you mentioned ET connections. Well, is that happen on like a higher dimensional sphere, or is it happening more an astral?
For me, it's higher dimensional, and some, I mean, my experience with them, it's kind of a long history, with really all types of being, with
Hmm.
angels, other types of guides, ascended masters, extraterrestrials. So it has been both in the awakened state as like somebody walking in my door,
Yeah.
as well as, but dimensional,
Right.
not a dense person, sh- uh, uh, ship parked outside and then walking into my door. It's
Mhm.
more dimensional, kind of spirit type energy.
Yeah.
Um, and then, of course, in the astral realm, while sleeping or while in meditation.
Yeah, I guess that is a higher dimension. I don't really ever think about astral or dream as something separate from my own reality, but
Hmm.
I guess in a sense it's non-conscious It's not the conscious reality, so it can be maybe it's a higher dimension. I'm not really sure, but
Yeah. Well, even for, when you're not even in the 3D, when a spirit comes in, there you're actually tapping into that other dimension. A spirit or other beings come in
hmm
and you're the only one that can see them, right? It's you're tapping into their life force, like coming in from another dimension, or you're accessing that dimension
hmm.
where they're existing.
Okay. Now, as far as for business, as far as that relates to business, does that lend or open you up to the ability to help others with this channeled work?
Yeah, for business, it's more of the intuition. So there's a couple of things when it comes to business. It's a connection to self allows you to have more certainty. So that's one thing, as you make decisions, you feel more certain about your decisions
Hmm.
because you're so more grounded, so more connected, and you're downloading information as well. When it comes to, what strategy did I take or what new opportunity to pursue, you're asking your higher guidance. So you're asking your higher self, you're asking source, you're asking your guides,
hmm
and then you're listening, which is really important because often we get information and we don't listen, we don't pursue it. We don't either don't trust it or ignore it. So, having or being in tune, I would say being in tune with yourself, being in tune with your higher self, being in tune with the light, the pure potentiality within you, being able to perceive energy, notice the energy of things, even the energy of ideas. It supports you in making great decisions when it comes to business or strategies because you can see. And especially, again, if you're doing it from a place of calm, grounded certainty, because you're not adding any other ingredients like fear, doubt, or insecurity. You're just getting the information and then you're taking action with that information.
Hmm. Yeah, it's a very pure approach to living. So it also would extend to every other part of your life as well.
Oh,
Um,
absolutely. And again, that information could come just from your knowing, or it can be downloaded, or it can be you having a conversation with source or your guides or your ascended masters
mhm,
or higher beings of light that have higher wisdom and knowing and are there to support you.
yeah. Now, there is also two sides to everything, right? So, how do you safeguard for yourself or for somebody you're working with? How do you help them to safeguard against something that might be nefarious or something that's working against them?
Mm. Yeah, that's a very good question. And there are a couple ways that you can do that. One is more about you, right? It's not really about what's out there
hmm
because what's out there stays out there unless you create an opening for it to come in. Meaning, if you're already running fear, if you're running insecurities, if you're running rage or anger, if you're running a lower vibration in your field, then that's something that it's like a door opener.
hmm
If you're unhappy, if you're resentful, if you're judging yourself, judging others, you're not really in a state of vibration that feels wholesome, that feels grounded, that feels calm, that feels joyful. Joy, happiness, gratitude, those are all really high vibrations. And when you can get into a state of a high vibration, love, unconditional love, that's the highest protection you can have.
Yeah.
Sometimes I get asked about, putting a shield. And yeah, sometimes we do that as, if somebody's kind of working toward their self acceptance, self love, and just need a little bit sort of like, create a space around them so they can continue working on that while they master that,
hmm
then, we'll put a color or a mirror or flowers around their field that it's going to help them kind of buffer or repel or reflect back
Mm.
whatever's coming their way. But really, the key is this being the state of joy, state of happiness, state of unconditional love, state of grace. That's your ultimate protection. And that's you loving yourself. That's you being in acceptance of who you are and the journey that you're on and looking forward with optimism, with, possibility, looking at everything that happens in your life as opportunities versus, not this again, or
Hmm.
life is against me. It's
Right.
just really changing the way you look at life and the way you relate to life.
Yeah. There's definitely a cocoon time when
Mhm.
somebody is beginning to evolve into this higher state of themselves, or to join the layers of themselves together to become more conscious of these
Mhm.
different parts of themselves, perceptions, and the point where they're able to do that and just ride with without the need for a shield or something like that. There's definitely that time
Mhm.
frame where they're assimilating all of this information in, they're becoming something new, and they're still living in the world that they lived in prior, that accepted them as somebody that they're not going to be for very long. The people around them may hold them down, or may, try
Right.
to stop them. All sorts of
And
things, right?
and there Right, and there may be other things outside them. When we're talking about extraterrestrials earlier,
Right.
and I do have some clients that are, they have that kind of level of interference.
Mm,
Extraterrestrials siphoning their energy, sabotaging their field,
yeah.
placing implants in their field, um, interrupting their flow, or their even mentally, like mind programming or mind control,
Right.
where they create a state of fear or a state of confusion so that they're not fully optimized or using their full ability, full potential. So there is that. And then there's the other side of that, which is entities, attachments, demon type energies, Luciferian type energies. Um, Okay. Yes, I was just saying now the other side of that is when we have other types of interferences like Anunnakis, reptilians,
Right.
other type of entities that are, in the DNA or in the organ system or in the cellular system, and moving all of that out so the person can feel free,
Mm,
reclaim their free will, their divine power, and start taking action, owning their body, owning their energy, owning their mind, and their space and their environment.
yeah. And I imagine a lot of interference for people happens when they're unconscious, in their subconscious, when they're sleeping. Um,
Mhm.
this is when the programming really needs to begin, is to start building up a stronger subconscious body.
Yeah, for some people, it does happen in that space. And for some people, it's actually when they get busy or when they go around other people, when
Mm,
they kind of lose their boundary and they're taking everybody else's energy. Now they're not in their body, not in their space, and are struggling to get back into the body, back into the space. So having a good tool or a good process to stay grounded in the body, and of course the mental resilience, being able to come into the center of the head, being able to come into the center of the heart really supports them.
yeah. And as far as people that you work with, do you work with pretty much anybody? And
I do.
you do that
Go
over
ahead.
the internet, like on like this kind of thing, a video call?
Yes, yes. So I work with virtually anybody because again, the areas that I work in are wealth consciousness, human potential, and your own, your connection with self, which is your activating yourself as 100% divine human. And if we look at that big umbrella, what's underneath that is, how is my career going? Wealth consciousness.
Right.
How's my relationship going? It is, how do I relate to the world? My health is me, my connection with self. So under that, there are, pretty much addresses all the main things that, a lot of people are trying to get some kind of mastery over, which are money, health, and relationships.
Yeah.
And they do it like this, either over Zoom or over the phone, or as well as one-on-one in a group setting.
Hmm. Okay. And do you travel to do that in person, or is it typically something you do where you're located?
I usually do where I'm located, but I do have retreats on occasion.
Hmm.
I haven't scheduled the next one, but we like to go to different places like Mexico, Tulum, Playa del Carmen, Cancun, Hawaii, Australia, just different places where you can really connect to nature, where you can unplug from mass consciousness and really come into that place of pure divine vibration and light within you, and
Hmm.
really access it and experience everything around you as oneness. So I have one coming up. I just haven't scheduled a date, but I do love to do retreats because you really go into that full immersion
Hmm.
where you're, fully in it, fully present. You can feel, the physical experience, as well as, we have other activities that we do in the environment that are very specific to developing your gifts, like talking to the trees or going out into the ocean and connecting with the mer people.
Mm.
Or going out and just experiencing the stars and the connection to the universe.
Yeah, a lot of people don't get to look up and see the canopy of stars.
Mhm.
They're stuck in smog or light pollution, and or heavy cloud cover for most of the year. They look up, it's haze, but it's quite something if you get into the right spot, far enough away from lights. It's pretty bright. It's pretty bold.
That's right. It's beautiful.
Yeah, and as far as for these retreats, do you have a website for that you work through?
Yes, my website is 360 Prosperity, and I have information around the current programs that we are running, as well as the upcoming events. The retreat being one of them, as well as how you can work with me, whether it's one on one or in a group setting.
That's great. That's great.
360prosperity.com.
360 Prosperity, and I'm a big fan of the idea of what a retreat can do. Aside from the experience itself, it also allows you time away from what I used to call the record. Whatever
Mhm.
record you were spinning at home, allows
Mhm.
you a little time away from that and a reset, an opportunity to reset your life, an opportunity to reset that program or that consistent, constant cycle that you might have been stuck in, and come away with a good experience, but also come home as, being whoever you want to be.
That's right. Yeah, it allows you to unplug, and it allows you to, if you choose to, you know, sort of reinvent yourself, kind of decide like, who am I becoming? Who do I want to become? And what part of me can I heal, or do I want to heal, or can I heal in this moment to come into that alignment and that integration? Uh, whether it's the inner child work or whether it's past lives or other timelines. So it gives you the space to be able to do that.
Hmm.
And of course, you're in the energy and frequency of others in the container that we create in during that time, that really helps you accelerate your stepping into the next version of you, expanding into who you want to become, as well as more easily see what is there for you to heal.
Right. Yeah. I love it. That's great. And how long have you been doing the work in general for other people?
I have to say it's been a very long time. I was born with my gifts. I remember doing work as young as 5, 6 years
Oh
old,
wow.
working with my guides and my angels. Professionally, it's been over 6 years.
Okay.
Let's see. Yeah, over 6 years. I would probably say actually 9 years. It's been 9 years.
The pandemic time
Professionally.
period really wiped time. You got to add 3 years there. Yeah.
Right, right.
Because we're on the other side of it now. But yeah, 9 years.
Right.
Okay. Yeah.
9 years.
Yeah. There's a lot of growing acceptance for people with multi-level talents to help on a variety of different things as far as money and, like you said, that triad: the money,
Mhm.
the finding love, finding money, and
And health.
what was that third one?
Health.
Health, of
Health.
course. And
Mhm.
that's something that we're always kind of gearing towards to try and figure out. You know,
Mhm.
prosperity in those three things, as like 360 prosperity, those full encompassing approach to life, a way to kind of bring that holistic perspective into existence for us. So we're living a life where we're really manifesting for ourselves.
That's right. Yeah, if you look at how society, and I'd say used to work because a lot of that is changing. So you have, you focus on career, then love, and then lastly is usually health.
Hmm.
Because you're so focused on outward, on competition,
Right.
being the best you can be, being worthy, earning, achieving, and then of course then you want a partner, or you want to share that with the partner. Then you're looking for the partner, and it's for you're building on that relationship, and then sacrificing for that relationship as well, and then it's you and your health. So the approach, the shift in that is that you can have it all.
Hmm.
You can have a great life that includes having the career of your life, or living your passion and your purpose, expressing your soul's mission, having a person in your life that is your complement, that brings out the best out of you, that it's your partner in every way. And of course, taking care of yourself along the process, doing your self-care, yeah, doing your inner healing, allowing your full potential also, you know to expand and hold the container for the life that you're creating.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. You got to make space for for all the new
Mhm,
self,
mhm.
all the new
That's right.
energy. Yeah. Wow. And where do you see your work going in the next few years? Or where would you like to
Thank you
see it
for
go, I should say?
Yes, thank you for asking that. So right now I am taking on more speaking engagements, uh, both live and on different shows and TV. So, where I see this going is really sharing my message with larger audiences, reaching millions of people worldwide, and also teaching larger groups, some in this fashion and others live. So, larger group events,
Hmm.
larger retreats, larger conferences, to really facilitate empowerment, and also facilitating the power of choice that we have to create our reality, and as well as helping others also activate what's already within them, their gifts, their talents, their ability to hear themselves, their ability to create and manifest, as so they say it becomes. So, moving into the space of certainty and moving into the space of everything I ever desire is already available to me. Moving away from when I get there to I can have it on it.
Mm. Yeah. And manifesting it, making that a reality. Right.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. That's great. And do you have anything you'd like to say to those watching or listening, as far as maybe people kind of adrift, looking for a message, looking for an answer?
Hmm. Yeah. So a couple of things. One of the main things is that sometimes we actually dismiss who we are. We if we do something that for us it feels natural. Like for instance, for many years, I just thought my gifts were normal and I didn't think much of them. Even though I, to some degree used them to help others when I was very young, but I didn't ever think that they had enough value to be my business or for me to help people at a greater level. So I would say to many of the listeners is that we all have something that's really special. We all have something that is really special, that even if it looks like somebody else, is still unique because it's art.
Hmm.
And we make that thing special, whether it's our ability to speak, our ability to facilitate transformation, whether it's, helping others connect to their genius, whatever that is. We have something that is very special, and all of us do. We have something that we can share with the world that is just ours. So I would say that you are valuable. And when you connect to that value of who you are, when you connect to your self-worth, your life begins to change because you start to see life different. You start to see the world different. You start to see your contribution different. Because sometimes we're like, well, I do this all the time. Why would anybody pay for it? Or why would this be my business?
Right.
But in reality, it's your divine gift and it's what you are here to do. That's what makes you special. That's what makes you valuable to the world. That's what your contribution is, who you are, the stories of your life, all the events in your life make up being special. So your story. And I say your story, but I say it in a powerful way, meaning that it's not your life, and your life journey is not meant to take you out. It's meant to help you develop and know yourself and know what you're here. Really discover your power, your gifts, your, that gift that you are to the world. So if you're not sure where to go or what's next for you, really tune into that part of yourself. Tune into the part of you that is powerful, magical, that is amazing, that is brilliant. Take some time to get to know that part of yourself. Take some time to appreciate that part of yourself, to honor that part of yourself. And you can even take it a step further by, creating your own avatar of what that person is, whether it's, you see yourself as a speaker, whether you see yourself as a goddess, or as an oracle, or as a high priestess, or as a spiritual leader or healer, whatever that is. But connect to that part of you and start developing a relationship, honoring yourself, honoring that relationship, honoring the fact that you know yourself, or that you're beginning to know yourself, because that part of yourself can help you create so much in your life, can help you contribute so much to others, will change your life. If this is something that you're meant to do here in the world. So the message again is, first of all, you're already beautiful and amazing and important and brilliant. Connect to that brilliance within you and let it shine.
That's great. Well, you hit on a lot of good points there. Absolutely, that's fantastic. I you know the idea of finding an inner avatar. I love that concept. We do like the hero path where we find
Mhm.
that highest and best of ourselves, and we look to evolve into it. And also, we don't want to let that avatar down. So we do the best that we can to always act according to what's going to lead us towards that highest and best, as almost like a separate thing, but it is that thing of us that we're trying to become. That's really a
That's
really great point.
Mhm.
And then, of course, the idea that that other idea that everybody has a story to tell, and
Mhm.
everybody's really living that story. And I feel like for myself, I look back, I work really hard for myself to remember as many things as I can, many facets of my life that I've experienced as possible. I hit as many of the points as I can as far back as possible because I feel like that is my story, and I get a lot out of it, and I'm not exactly sure why I get a lot out of recapitulation, but
Mhm.
I feel like it is my story and it's nobody else's.
Right,
I could
right.
maybe use pictures as a means to like get back to a point, but it's really for me to remember the sounds, maybe the smells, the experience, most important, what I was experiencing.
Mhm.
And I feel like that brings me to the idea of everybody's a writer. Everybody should write their own story. And, um,
Mhm.
you know, to show that yes, there is some kind of magic in their life that they maybe
Mhm.
weren't even aware of because they weren't really looking. But to go back and to look at your life and review it, and the good, the bad, and the ugly, and to just look at it from that very current, present moment, sober experience, and maybe to put it down on paper and express it. That's
Yeah,
Can be very powerful.
and that's kind of what the healing work is about, right? Because a lot of what happened in your childhood is it's playing out now. A lot of what happened in other lifetimes is what we're playing out now, like the karma that
Yeah.
we bring in from other lifetime. So, in going back to our past, we're reconnecting to those parts of ourselves that felt lost, that felt rejected, that felt abandoned, that felt disconnected, that felt unimportant, or we're connecting to the joy, the joy that we've forgotten about as children, to the magic when we were children. So, a good practice is what you were describing is going back and reconnecting to younger versions of you, because you'll uncover either areas that are incomplete that you haven't healed,
Hmm.
or information for you. Oh, that's interesting. I remember that. what how I related to money, or how I related to, being in a relationship, or how I related to our relationship based on the relationship that I saw my parents have.
Right.
So we learned a lot about who we are now, and about how we're relating to life and how we're showing in life based on the past. And if we can go back and look at it with compassion, with understanding, and bring our current higher wisdom and even higher wisdom into the past, then we can reset our life, and we can change what we're creating now to something even better. Even if life is already amazing, there's still room for us to expand to even more.
Yeah. Yeah. It's really involved, and yet it's really simple. The whole
Hmm.
idea of it's like that. It's a DNA thing. It's a life recall. We
Hmm.
have an experience, and it creates a tear or whatever. It creates an anomaly in the timeline for ourself, our
Hmm.
experience of it. And if we go back with that higher mind, that wisdom, and we go back, we can try and smooth out that tear or repair that tear, and it won't
Hmm.
be sending a signal consistently to our present. It'll stop doing that call to repeat, to
Hmm.
repeat, to repeat. Um, we can heal those things. We can kind of, live a whole new life if we can clear some of those tears and some of those anomalies in our lives. I imagine that with in your work that you're seeing a lot of people with the ET inference, or maybe even the dark side of religion, that they're having
Hmm.
these early life issues that creep up and keep calling out to have their present day kind of swerved or messed with.
Yeah, so it's really from any interference on religion, a lot of sort of indoctrination with religion, as well as even society,
Mm-hmm.
and cultural. If you're a woman in certain cultures, you don't have a voice, you don't have any power, you don't have, the ability to do different things. You don't have the same freedoms. So sometimes it's cultural, and sometimes it's just a family dynamic. Sometimes in the family, the father was the one that sort of dictated everything, and everybody else just kind of went along with that. So it's just, it varies with different people, but the key is to look at that history, to look at that experience and how that's playing out here. And usually you don't have to go back and look for it, because there's something here that actually brings it up.
Mm-hmm.
So for instance, like, well, as an example with money, if you've been waiting for an opportunity to get a raise, and it's just not happening, you're doing everything you can, and you're being passed up in connection to money, and then you're starting to get bitter and angry because no matter what you do, it's just not happening. And if you look at your past with money, there may be some money wounds in your childhood connected to your parents. Maybe your dad lost his job, or maybe, there was only one income, or maybe there was a divorce that happened and you were struggling with money.
Mm-hmm.
So, these things tend to come up in our current environment and situation, but they're great opportunities. Whatever feels like a challenge is actually a great opportunity for you to heal, and for you to transcend that cycle, or that pattern, or that disruption that is occurring in your life, that's based on the past, or based on an experience that you learned, or based on what you learned from your parents, that you took on, and are now living that. A lot of times we're living our parents' life instead of our own, because we learn from them. We learn to relate the way they do. We learn to see the world from their point of view. So a lot of times we're living their life. So it's great when things trigger you, because that's the opportunity for you to look at, well, what is this really about, and is this mine anyway? Is this really mine? Is it my parents, my ancestors? Is it something that I took on from society? Is it really my truth? And then you can start, dismantling that, you can start deconstructing that, you can start releasing that from your field,
Mm-hmm.
and you can start adopting new belief systems. So one of the things I say is fall in love with money, fall in love with having money, fall in love with prosperity, fall in love with freedom, the freedom of money. Money is love, money is light, money is, your expression, your mission, your purpose, your passion. They're the same energy because it brings you joy, it brings you happiness as well. It facilitates things. So when we take away whatever story we attach to it, or whatever belief systems we attach to it, then we can amplify it. It doesn't become a thing that we're working towards, it just flows. We do what we love and then money just flows.
Hmm. Yeah, it's basically like healing that relationship.
Hmm.
It's a concept, and
Absolutely.
it's a concept that some of us don't have a really good relationship with. you know,
Hmm.
you may hate money, in which case money's probably going to stay away from you, or work
Hmm.
against you. Or you may love
Right.
it, and it may want to be around you, and you may want to be around it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's also the way you hold the energy of money. So sometimes when I look at I like to look at it differently, like money, abundance, prosperity, because they have a different frequency,
Hmm.
or sometimes we relate to them very different. So I like to look at when people say I've been working very hard and I tend to have money, but then it goes away, or it's really hard for me to build my savings, or really hard for me to just hold on to it. So I look at money, I look at prosperity, and what I like to look at is the way I see money is it looks like an energy and it has a picture attached to it, or in all the other ones as well. But what I like to see with the flow is a big ocean. Money as a big ocean, or abundance as a big ocean, or a waterfall that keeps overflowing, or a river that flows into the ocean. When you have that, then energetically you have money flows with ease. Money expands into an infinite sea of abundance. But when I see money like a rock that's being dragged behind, it's money is hardship, money is hard work, money, it takes a toll on you or your body, and it takes time. It's like a burden. So we work to release all of that and change the energetic relationship as well to money so that it flows a lot easier. And I do this with different things, again, with the various aspects of money, but also when it comes to relationship, because we hold like a belief system that often shows up as a picture in relationships, or career, or your ability to start a business, or even your health. What are you holding in your body that creates symptoms connected to not being able to show up in the world fully, connected to not being able to be present in your relationship, to not be able to hold money, make money, create money. So it's really interesting what things that we create or things that we allow to come into our field that take us out of our alignment, that take us out of our ability to have it all in the moment.
Yeah, it's the idea of triggers or a reaction. Look to
Hmm.
see when you react, also how you react, and try and find the source of that reaction to the stimulus, whatever the stimulus is. Very difficult to do, I think, for a lot of people in the moment. Easier on reflection, but it's in that
Hmm.
moment, if you can catch it, that you'll sound like somebody, or it'll remind you
Hmm.
of something, and that's the greatest chance to ride that reaction, to clear it,
Hmm.
really to clear it, to stop reacting, because you don't want to react to things, you want to act on them. And money would be no different than that, in my understanding.
Right. And self mastery is a practice. So, self mastery is what you were describing, being able to see, so observe from above, or as if you were watching the scene unfold, and then looking at, well, how am I showing up in that situation? So, as an example, if you're surrounded by your family members and it's supposed to be a joyous occasion, but you're feeling anxious, you're feeling overwhelmed, what the conversations that you're having with them feel like you're being criticized or you're being judged. So it's not necessarily about everybody else; it's more about you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because there's some type of wounding within you. So if you can take a deep breath and then step out and then see what's happening, the dynamics of everyone, you can see, I'm still wanting validation. I'm still looking for love. I'm still giving up my power because I want to belong. I want acceptance from others, especially from my family. So you begin to give yourself that. You begin to give yourself validation. You begin to give yourself love and connection, and you give yourself permission to own your power. So that then the way you show up and how others show up in your field begins to change as well. You're showing up in your power. You're communicating with power and grace. You're communicating with certainty. You're more focused and clear about life and what you want in life, and others begin to respond that way as well.
Yeah, that's the idea.
Mhm.
Be
And it's a
basically you want
practice.
to see
It is.
yourself in everybody else. So
Yeah, yeah,
um,
yeah.
those that are,
And it's definitely a practice.
yeah,
Yes. Go ahead.
yeah, it's actually it's fun once you see that there is kind of a game to it. That it is you're
Mhm.
working with yourself. That you're always looking at a reflection. So you may
Mhm.
have a person in your life that's bringing you down, and it's the reactions that you do to that person or with that person. That's the key to clearing that, whatever that is, whatever that relationship is. It's the
Mhm.
key to look at how that reactionary movement happens. How do they react to you? And maybe you can see and know why, and then how you react to them. And also, maybe you can see or remember as to why you're reacting a certain way when they say something. And
Right.
that's where the freedom is of that relationship.
Mhm.
Either to be free of the
Yeah.
relationship, but most likely to raise the relationship up. You know.
Right. Yes, and the key is compassion, being
Mm.
compassionate toward yourself instead of judging yourself for what happened or how you're being or allowing them to, and they say that to treat you that way. Because in reality, it's an opportunity. So seeing yourself with compassion, seeing others where they're at without judgment, and then looking for that, where can I up level? Where can I upgrade? What can I integrate? What can I heal to move beyond and create something even more amazing
Yeah.
in my power?
Yeah, that's great. Well, Maria, it was really great having you on today, getting to discuss all this.
Thank
And
you. It was my pleasure.
we have 360prosperity.com, and we'll have that linked in the description of the show. And anything else you'd like to say to the watchers and listeners?
Yeah, just many blessings to all of you. This is the perfect time to just take time and go within and really connect to yourself and look at what else is there for you to contribute to the world in whatever level, at whatever level, whether it's in your small group or whether it's, high visibility, whatever that may be. And to really hold the light. The light is self-love and self-compassion, non-judgment. And then in that holding the light, you're creating a beautiful ripple effect for others to step into that space. And that's how we transform the world. That's how we help Mother Earth heal. And as Mother Earth heals, then Mother Earth also supports the healing of humanity. So let's all be a contribution to that. Thank you, everyone. And thank you, Nick.
That's beautiful. Thank you. Take care.
Namaste. Lots of love.